Merry meet, Annie here. I've checked over a couple of my past videos on the Sabbat of Samhain, and I can still stand by them. So you'll see them in the text box below. So I thought I would share in this reflection what Samhain is not to me. And some of my crotchety witchiness is going to come out in the first few things I'm going to mention. Samhain for me is not the Celtic Day of the Dead. Do your own research on this. I was taught in my earliest study times with my elders that it was indeed a Celtic celebration of the departed. No disparagement to those teachers. They were working off of what they'd been taught and on scholarly resources available in the 1960s. Those resources are now outdated. Again, do your own research. The power of this day as we know it in contemporary Wiccan practice is a relatively new one, and that power is in our shared honoring of the day and what it has become. It's not about Celtic history. Honestly, it shouldn't even be called Samhain, except if the true translation of that happens to be Summer's End, well, that's a correct word for it. As in the Celtic world, summer ended and winter began. Also, Samhain to me is not a time for New Year's resolutions. It's a time to journey within for the length of the season of Samhain, and that does result in promises to the returning sun at the winter solstice. It's not about setting goals at the beginning of the dark time. It's about maturing them during the length of the dark time. And Samhain to me is not the only time, or even one of two times in a year, to lift the veil. The veil is real and present in every moment of our life. It is whatever keeps us from seeing the true nature of anything, of all things. And we would do well to contemplate that much more often than at Samhain and Beltane. If we work the year sincerely and deeply, we become ever more aware that we must release the illusion of separation. It's the lifting of the veil. And one last thing, again from a slightly crotchety witch who's understanding that, well, like everyone else, she believed what she was told early on. Samhain to me is not the current contemporary holiday of Halloween. It has no connection to it in any way. It's also in no way connected to the concept in the Christian world of All Hallows Eve and All Saints and All Souls days. Again, I can only suggest that you do your research on this. And by that I mean contemporary research. I know the books we've all been reading for a long, long time tell us those darn Christians stole this holiday from us. Well, if the holiday was not originally about celebrating the dead, and you'd have a hard time convincing me it was after I've done more research the more my decades in practice have added up. If it wasn't about the Day of the Dead in the ancient Celtic world, well then, I for one stopped blaming the church for stealing a tradition which I don't think was ours to begin with. Oh, don't get me wrong. Honoring the dead is certainly a part of pagan practices throughout all time, almost always though, in the springtime. The only dead I think the ancient Celts are worried about at this time of the year was their possible impending death, because it was difficult to survive the next season. Again, I say, this is the fourth or fifth time, do your own research. I'll tell you somebody who presented it very clearly and concisely. When I was looking for sources online to back this up, because for me it's been research in books, modern books about Celtic history. Jason Mankey, who I think is one of the bright lights in our current pagan community, has written wonderfully about this on patheost.com. So search him out if you want to see a concise explanation of why it's not the Day of the Dead. It's also not a time to demand the presence of the ancestors to me. It's a bit of a human hubris to think that those who have passed on remain so connected to us that we have the power to pull them back from whatever they're next experiencing to attend us at our beck and call. Samhain is a lesson in humility. It's not all about us. It is, though. the lighting of a candle in the window of our home, the home of our circle, and our psyche, to welcome any who would like to come by. It's about respectful waiting, and it's about being comfortable that our folks might have better things to be doing in the whatever comes next. Honoring the dead is very different from calling them forth. And I think I'll end with a little bit more in a different vein, because in light of what I have personally declared that Samhain is not, Samhain is immense, powerful, and beautiful beyond any words I could possibly write or speak. It is a time not only to honor our own beloved dead. Traditionally, we honor those who have passed in our traditions, with that solitary honoring teachers who are past. We honor all who have created a legacy within us by what they have taught and or what they demonstrated in the way they lived. And we honor the unknown dead. This came to me powerfully after reading an article by Melissa Hill on Pathos, again, a couple of years ago. Her article is entitled 5 Prayers for Ancestors Most People Don't Think About at Samhain. The whole article's worth a read. She asks us to consider prayers for our most ancient ancestors. Prayer for those who did not make it into this world. I used that powerful prayer last year to honor the beings that I miscarried in all of my pregnancies. She asks us to hold prayers for extinct species and the heroic dead, those who died on behalf of others. And the most powerful of the prayers to me, and one which I began including in my personal rite, the prayer for the unjustly killed, which I share with you. That's how powerful I think that it is. Again, this is from Melissa Hill, and you can find that entire article on Pathos. I call to those who died in raging war, those who only wanted simple things, the joy of the day, the calm of night. Blessed is your memory. I call to those who died from hate, those who were hurt by belief, from fueled fear, twisted tight, unleashed upon those seen as different. Blessed is your memory. I call to those who died by the power of the mother, the winds and storm, the fueled fire, the sweeping strength of the earth out of balance. Blessed be your memory. I call to those who died from hunger, from preventable disease, unneeded harm. I call to those who died poverty-stricken, struggling to exist. Blessed is your memory. I remember you. I see you. I will not forget you. I will let the knowledge of this truth pass over and through me. I will remain ready to do the work I am called to do. Blessed is your memory.